What's up guys, Ruppy here bringing you my Week 3 battle for the SAPL as my Columbus Swoo enter an early season Clash of the Titans against our fellow 2-0 division rival, Jarrett and his Los Angeles Reshirams. My team is off to the left as per usual, and my team builder video went up yesterday, so there's that if you want to see exactly what I'm bringing. His team's off to the right, and he brought a few things that I was not entirely expecting him to. The only major defensive wall he brought out of his three big ones was his Skarmory, which kind of caught me off guard. He brought the Mega Garchomp. I knew he was going to bring the Volcarona and probably the Azumarill as well. Tauros was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't sure exactly what his Tauros wanted to do to me. And his Azelf is definitely there that I really need to try to figure out what that thing is right away and try to pick it off as soon as possible before it causes me any problems is basically the plan. So, as we go ahead and get into the battle here, just gonna dive right in. I figure for the second week in a row, Rotom-Wash is my best lead because I can status whatever he sends in, I can Volt Switch out, and then proceed to basically start going to town on him. He opts to lead with Volcarona. He wants to try to sweep me right out of the gate, and I really don't like that plan. So, he's going to go ahead and Quiver Dance up, which is fine with me. I'm going to proceed to blow this thing up with a Hydro Pump, put a heavy dent into it right away, and for the second week in a row, Hax bites me in the ass on the very first turn, which that's really getting frustrating that Hax is doing that to me. Because I missed the Will-O-Wisp first turn last week. This week it's the Hydro Pump. I do manage to hit the Toxic, however, as he Quiver Dances a second time. So now he's at +2, and on the likely chance he has, say, Giga Drain, I really don't want to lose Rotom-Wash that quickly. So instead of Volt Switching, I just go ahead and Hard Switch out and go straight into my dedicated Volcarona counter, Druddigon. He ends up going for Fiery Dance. I'm not sure if he predicted me. I'm pretty sure he predicted me to switch the Rotom out, fearing the Giga Drain. But even only at +2, Bomb Track is going to eat that Fiery Dance, be able to heal up a bit with leftovers. He's getting worn down a bit by Toxic, which is good in case he has the Charty Berry, which I haven't seen an item from this thing yet. He's going to go for another Fiery Dance. He's at +3 now because he got the special attack boost. He is going to go ahead and get another one here, as that one does way more to me. But, moment of truth, I go for the Rock Slide. I see no Charty Berry getting popped, so this is a dead Volcarona. So I have a 6-5 advantage right out of the gate, and one of his biggest threats is already gone, which honestly just makes me happy. Because getting swept by Volcarona was not exactly in my plans for this game. And thank you, Bomb Track, for coming through. Now he brings in his Longhorn, Tauros. I was fine with letting Druddigon go down here because other than trying to get rocks up, it really did its job. Plus I figured I'd be able to get some rough skin damage on the way out, but he reveals Ice Beam on his Tauros, which kind of caught me off guard a bit. Regardless, I'm going to go back into Laundry Day because I know I can take any hit from this thing because I'm more physically defensive. He Body Slams me, which is not going to paralyze because I am part electric. And I'm going to proceed to Will-O-Wisp this thing so it's not doing as much damage. I'm assuming this thing's probably Life Orb Sheer Force just based off the ridiculous amount of damage it's doing. So, and the fact I'm not seeing any sort of Life Orb Recoil, which the fact he switched up moves reveals to me he's not running any sort of choice item, or like say choice band. That second Body Slam still does a pretty good amount, which bothers me, but I'm going to go ahead and Volt Switch out on him. He's burned, so I'm in a better position than I could have been. I go straight into Mystic, knowing that because I'm Scarfed and he's showed me he's not, I'm going to easily be able to outspeed and pick this thing off if I so choose. I decided to go for the Energy Ball here, expecting him to maybe try to go into, say, Azumarill, or even the Garchomp wouldn't have liked to eat an Energy Ball. But he makes the smart play, goes into Skarmory. That Energy Ball is not going to do anything. And I'm in a bad spot, so obviously Mystic needs to skip town for a few turns. And that's exactly what it's going to do, as I decide to send in Archangel now to threaten this thing out before it starts doing any sort of real damage to me. Plus I know I can defog the Rock Sway if he sets him up. He goes for Toxic instead, however. which was obviously not pleasant because this thing is one of my own defensive walls. I'm basically trying to beat him in a defensive battle here, is what this kind of boils down to. So he's back to full, so he's got his sturdy back now. Archangel is toxic, which is not pleasant. I expect him to switch, fearing the electric attack. He goes into Tauros as I proceed to fire off a Hidden Power Ice, figuring he would probably go into the Garchomp to be able to be immune to the electric attack. But it is what it is. I still get a nice amount of damage off on that Tauros to really help wear it down, especially since it's still racking up the burn damage. I decided to get Archangel out of here, however, because I don't want to take a potential Rock Slide that this thing might throw. And I don't want the toxic damage to rack up any further. So I send in Laundry Day, partially expecting to sack it off, actually. As he goes for a Rock Slide, Laundry Day is going to be able to live that. If he went for a Body Slam, he might have been able to kill, because with a stab, that was actually doing a crazy amount of damage, even despite the burn. But Laundry Day gets some leftover recoveries back, and his Tauros is going to go down to the burn. So Rotom-Wash finally on the board for the season with a kill. A passive one, but it is a kill. In comes Mega Garchomp now, which is not a pleasant sight to see. He goes ahead and Mega Evolves. I'm just going to go ahead and sack off Rotom-Wash, just because I really didn't want anything else to eat a stray Dragon Claw. So, unfortunately, I didn't want to predict it either in case he actually predicted me to switch into Gardevoir and go for an Earthquake, which I cannot lose my Scarf for right now. It's going to become vitally important. With Rotom-Wash gone, I decided to send in Quartz now, and I'm going to go ahead and substitute on this turn. He shows me that this is his Stealth Rocker, and not Skarmory, which kind of caught me off guard a bit. And he is also a little faster, which also bothers me. He must be running... He must have speed crept me, I'm assuming. Because, I mean, I know I'm not running max speed, but Mega Garchomp is also slower than regular Garchomp, so... He goes for the Dragon Claw and breaks my sub, even despite the Intimidate, which is a testament to the attacking power that Garchomp possesses, especially in its Mega form. I go for an Earthquake, and that does quite a bit less damage than I was actually calculating. I mean, I was expecting it to do roughly half, and I mean, I guess that's about right, but it did a little less than I was expecting for even the lowest roll, because even the lowest possible roll I calculated on a standard Mega Garchomp set would have put it just barely below half. He proceeds to Toxic me, which is quite annoying considering I'm a sub-variant, as I just Earthquake again, get this thing down a little lower. This thing wants to sit in here and pull off these defensive shenanigans. That's fine, because I know I will be able to live a D-Claw. He can't Earthquake me, and I will be able to take this thing out next turn with an Earthquake. I know he's going to switch, though, because he wants to preserve this thing. He figures it's going to be important for something later, considering what I have left. He goes into Skarmory. I go ahead and set up the sub. This might seem like a questionable play, considering I am toxic. But I wanted to make absolutely sure. I wanted to sub on the switch to give me a safety buffer against whatever he wanted to bring in on me, and allow me to make my next move accordingly. Which, since he brought in the Skarmory, I reveal the gravity here. So, Quartz is going to fall out of the sky, which, what on earth that thing is doing flying in the air, considering it's a rock, I will never know. Skarmory has been brought down from the sky. He shows me Drill Peck here, so he does have an attacking option, and one that's not going to cause him any sort of recoil damage. But even though he does have the Sturdy intact, this Skarmory is going to get blown up by an Earthquake if he leaves it in. So, as I said in my team builder, I'm free to Earthquake pretty much everything here at this point safely. He doesn't want Skarmory taking big damage, so he switches it out and goes into Azumarill, which is not going to appreciate taking this Earthquake in the slightest. And after his HP drops, I noticed that no Citrus Berry gets popped, which tells me that he is actually running, most likely... I mean, I didn't want to throw the option of Assault Vest off the table just yet, just in case, but he goes for the Aqua Jet. I am going to tell you guys right now, this thing is in fact a Banded Azumarill. Quartz is going to go down, and, well, Quartz did the job I needed to. It put a lot of pressure on his team, and I really didn't want anything else going down to an Aqua Jet. I send in Nightclub here, knowing I can take an Aqua Jet, even from a Banded Azumarill, and I'm free to put immense pressure on him from a defensive standpoint now. He goes into Skarmory, which is going to be able to eat this Boomburst to some degree, because I'm not running Specs. It does a decent chunk, though, despite the resisted hit, which shows you the true power that Exploud possesses with that ridiculously loud voice of it. I go for the Fire Blast here now, revealing to him that I'm not Specs. Unfortunately, this thing does live, but I do get a burn on it as it Drill Pecks me, which I guess is kind of balances out for the Hydro Pump miss all the way back on turn 1 to some degree, if you want me to be perfectly honest. I guess it's kind of a fair balance between the two. The Gravity's going to wear off this turn, and I didn't want to risk a Fire Blast miss without that, so I'm just going to go for the safe Ice Beam and basically polish off the Skarmory. So his biggest defensive wall is now off the field, and Night Club has just punched a giant hole in his team. He goes into the Mega Garchomp here. I really don't want to take a big hit because I know I'm going to need Night Club for later, so I switch it out at this point and go straight into Archangel. He goes for the Earthquake here, which obviously is not going to do anything because Zapdos is floating in the sky. I also know now that since I do know his entire moveset at this point, I have no reason to fear a Rock-type move because this Mega Garchomp does not have one. Toxic, Stealth Rock, Dragon Claw, and Earthquake is its full set. So the best he's going to be able to do is Dragon Claw me, which Zapdos is going to be able to eat fairly decently. I go for the Drill Peck to polish this thing off as a safe middle ground play. I didn't want to over-predict and go for an Electric-type move, expecting maybe the Azumarill to come in. And I also didn't want to go for Hidden Power Ice in case the Azumarill came in. So Drill Peck felt like a safe middle ground play there to take that thing out. Azumarill is going to come in right now, however, which is obviously a problem, because this is where I confirm once and for all this thing is banded as he goes to the Aqua Jet. Because a non-banded Azumarill, even at Adamant Max Attack, actually would not have been able to take out Zapdos there from the spread I had. So that confirms to me he is banded. He had enough to be able to take it out. So it's 2v2 here. And I'm feeling pretty confident that I've actually got the win in the bag here. He goes for an Aqua Jet, which does a ton of damage to Mystic as I send that in. And proceed to Moonblast Azumarill into Oblivion. All that remains now is the dreaded Azelf. I have no idea what this thing is, but I feel I can easily outspeed it with my Scarf, pick it off. And he reveals to me that his Azelf is also Scarfed. I don't know if he had any idea if my Gardevoir was Scarfed or not, but that confirms to me he's a Scarfed Azelf because he would not have been able to outspeed me any other way. So we're down to this final battle here. Night Club versus his Azelf. I know I can live one Psychic because of the Assault Vest. Boomburst, however, regardless of what his spread is a roll to O-Coat, and it's a roll that's not in my favor, but I end up getting the roll. And I'm going to be able to steal this victory at the buzzer. It's a close 1-0 game, and a very good game at that. That was a phenomenal game, Jarrett. Thank you so much for the great game. Sorry the roll kind of ended up going in my favor, but he and I talked after the game. He actually did have the wrong spread on his Azelf. He actually meant to go 72 HP EVs, and instead he only had 4, which, either way, no matter how I would have calced it, even if that thing had no HP EVs, it would have been a roll as to whether or not Boomburst O-Code Azelf from full health. But I had to take the roll anyway, for obvious reasons, and it's just a coincidence that it did happen to fall into my favor, thankfully. Even still, that was a phenomenal game. My Columbus Swoo escaped by the skin of our teeth with a 1-0 win, thanks to Night Club, who I said in the team builder was going to be a big benefit to this game, and lo and behold, that is exactly what it did. Coming off the bench, nabbing 2 kills, and saving us from falling short at the finish line, or at least as far as our first round of divisional matchups are concerned. So my Columbus Swoo are now 3-0. We are coming away at the top of our division right now, and I am looking really positive right now towards the future weeks as I'm starting to get used to this team, and things are really starting to fall into place for us for hopefully another successful run. So thank you guys so very much for watching this amazing battle. I have been Ruppy, and my Columbus Swoo and I will see you guys next time. Take care.